order. As you can see, this meeting is being held in person. It can also be viewed on local cable channel 1303 or on the internet by accessing bucksportmaine.gov and selecting agendas and minutes and choosing this meeting and clicking on the video button next to the meeting. Questions or comments may be submitted prior to or during the meeting by emailing slassard@bucksportmaine.gov or during the meeting by calling 307-8030. And now would be a great time to make sure your electronic devices are on silent. Thank you. Next is roll call, George.
Councilor Mark Eastman.
Here.
Councilor Paul Goffin.
Here.
Councilor Tracy Hare.
Here.
Mayor Paul Bissonnette.
Here.
Councilor Dan Hornsby.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Steve Bishop.
Here.
Councilor Ed Rankin.
Here.
Thank you. Next is presentation of any town council recognitions. We do not have any. Next is to consider minutes of previous meetings, and we have to review the meeting, the minutes from our meeting on May the 16th. I assume everyone's had a chance to review those.
Motion to approve. Second.
Second, questions? Those in favor?
I will abstain since I was absent.
Okay. Next is receive and review correspondence. Listed on the agenda, we have correspondence from Verona Police Call on May 31st, 2024. Additionally, included with your packets this evening, we have a letter from Main Street Bucksport dated June the 10th, 2024, indicating that they will be dissolving Main Street Bucksport and making arrangements for some of the initiatives that they have carried forth for 8 years before fully dissolving. Any questions or comments? I certainly would like to thank the efforts that Main Street Bucksport has put in place over the last 8 years. I won't list all of them, but I mean, when the pandemic started, the Bucks initiative and many, many other things that are listed here in this in the correspondence. I certainly want to thank Main Street Bucksport for what they have contributed to Bucksport in the past decade or just under. Questions? Next is ordinances to consider or introduce, and we do not have any. Discussion items. We did not have an infrastructure committee meeting this evening, so services committee, Councilor Rankin.
We just had one item, the Community Resilience Committee. We're recommending appointment of Ralph Chapman.
And we will take action on that in just a little bit. Thank you. Next, we have a couple of similar things. The first is the Spirit of America Award nominations. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
The town annually participates in the Spirit of America Award Program and chooses a citizen or a group to be the recipient of that award. It's on, so because I'm looking for nominations from the council for both that. And then the other thing is our town report, our annual report for 24 also needs a dedication, so we need nominees for, do you think that we could think about it and I can agenda that for next meeting and you could submit things between now and then and carry that forward? That would be
Fine with me, unless anybody has anything this evening. Good. That takes care of those two items. Thank you. So that will be for our meeting on the 27th. Okay. And then last item under discussion items is request for permission to obtain design drawings for the animal shelter.
Mr. Cavelli is here somewhere, maybe. You had identified a location for an animal shelter to be considered. We had some draft, they're not drawings, they're sketches, and so the question, or we're looking for permission to have drawings done, we can't do a fundraiser, we can't do a real evaluation for cost unless there are drawings done. And here comes Mr. Cavelli to,
It's working. Where are we at?
but I was just explaining that we were asking for permission to have
Yes.
drawings done of the animal shelter so that we could do both fundraising
Yep.
and cost estimation.
Correct. So the latest model was what you guys asked for. It's in the down behind the town garage, but it's the smaller. Well, it is not as small as the other one was, but it's much smaller than the first one. So the third version is 1,810 square feet. That includes that vestibule if we do that. And that model is 500 square feet less than the first model. So,
I mean, we can't move forward without it.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
Do we have a cost estimate for the,
no, we haven't done cost estimate yet. We'll do that if we, with the
For the
drawings.
for the drawings?
I did talk with Autumn, and I asked her, is there anything in here you don't need, anything in here you need that's not there? And she's just way too easy to please. She was like, no, it looks great, I'm happy. I'm like, no, now is the time if you want changes, and
Right.
she's good with it, so.
The cost estimate for the drawings.
I don't know that yet, but I'm guessing somewhere in the 10 to 20 range.
I was gonna say around, last we paid was 15,000.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking $10 to $20.
Yeah, I wish.
Oh.
I could do them for you, but I can't stamp them, so.
It's a step in the process.
That would have to
You
come
gotta-
from
you
fund
gotta do
balance.
it.
We don't have it.
Part of it.
But if you do that, you can recoup your costs when you either finance it or fundraise for it. This all becomes part of the cost of,
right, this is
That-
the very beginning
that's
Yeah.
correct.
of the price tag.
And
But you
it will
can't get any further without,
hopefully include a pretty picture that we can use for the fundraising process too, so people will see what they're
Cheapest part of the price tag.
voting for.
Make that a contingent part before we write them a check for the drawings.
Will do.
Yeah.
Is that just the building drawing, or is that septic and the whole deal?
Engineering and everything.
This would be complete, I believe, complete set of drawings. It may not be the septic design, cause that comes from a soil scientist, not architect, but it would be everything else, so.
Is there town sewer out there?
No.
That's a whole nother subject that we've been throwing around, but
There's a lot of options.
Big pipe from,
any other questions?
Not for me.
Okay.
Thank you, Lou.
everyone good to go with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a great step.
All right, let's see, next, we have a number of resolves on the agenda this evening. The first four, however, require the public hearing for those to occur first, so we are going to skip down momentarily to, agenda item 12, where we set public hearings and or hold public hearings and approval of any licenses or permits. We will do the first four under there. Now. So the first would be a public hearing on the 2024-2025 marina budget. Public hearing. Any comments on the marina budget from the public this evening? Any comments from the council this evening? Close public hearing. We skip back up to item 8A, resolve 2024-51 to approve the 2024-2025 marina budget.
motion approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? All those in favor? Thank you. Next, we'll go back down the page and we will, I will open the public hearing, excuse me, for the 2024-2025 capital improvement budget. Any comments from the public this evening on the capital improvement budget? Hearing none. Council? Close the public hearing. Back up to 8B, resolve 2024-52 to approve the 2024-2025 capital improvement budget.
Motion approved. Second.
Moved and and seconded. Questions? All's in favor? Thank you. Next would be 12C, public hearing for the 2024-2025 sewer budget. We'll open the public hearing. Any comments or questions from the public this evening? From the council?
None.
None. We'll close the public hearing. And 8C, resolve 2024-53 to approve the 2024-2025 sewer budget.
Motion approved.
Second.
Questions? Those in favor? Opposed? And last of our hop, skip, and jump here, down to 12D, public hearing for the 2024-2025 general fund budget. Any questions or comments from the public on the general fund budget? From the council? Close the public hearing. Back up to 8D, resolve 2024-54 to approve the 2024-2025 general fund budget.
Motion approved.
Second.
Moving second. Questions? All in favor? Opposed? All right. Staying under agenda items, resolve 2024-55 to approve the gas diesel bid for 2024-2025. I will assume everyone saw the bid.
I want to just explain that we've been with Dead River for a number of years now, and once upon a time, we put things out in February, early March, we got bids, we got multiple, and that doesn't happen anymore. Now, when you get a price, it's good for the day until noon, that price is there, effective when it's accepted. And so, I have been tracking the price until it got lower than our last year's price by 9 cents. And in accepting this bid, what happens, the 5,500 gallons left on the current contract at $2.99 get rolled into the new one, and so instead of $2.88 a gallon, it ends up being $2.90, but it still saves us about $4,500 on the cost of fuel for the coming year. And I talked to the school superintendent about it as well. It's really a new world, and getting, it used to be we would get a price, it would go into effect July 1, and they won't do it anymore. You get a price that goes into effect when you do it, or else you can't have that price. So here we are. I'm asking you to approve something that I actually did, which is to do the fuel. And I did talk to the school superintendent about it, who was very happy because they had gone with last year's price too, as had we. So there is some savings in it, but they didn't dare wait any longer to keep tracking the price. Because if it had gone up and not come back down, then we're in trouble. Bottom line, it's cheaper than it was last year. Saves some money.
Well, motion to approve then.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor? Thank you. And last under agenda items, we have resolve 2024-56 to approve the contract with Maine Water for 7/1/2024 through June 30th, 2027. I assume everyone's had a chance to read that through that as well.
It's a 5% increase over the last contract year, and then CPI increases annually over the course of the contract.
Was that last one 3-year contract?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a 3-year contract, and then we amended it when we, Mike Jackson,
Rearranged things.
we did, and it gave us an extra year through 24, and now 24 to 27 is this one.
Okay.
How would the council like?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Next, under resignations, appointments, assignments, and elections, we have an appointment or a nomination for appointment from the Services Committee for the Climate Resilience Committee. Ralph Chapman, as discussed just a little bit ago. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve.
Second.
And second, questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Next is approval of quitclaims, discharges, and deeds, and we're seeing none this evening. We will proceed to town manager report.
A reminder that the ceremony for the installation of the America 250 Revolutionary War plaque at the Veterans Memorial is on Saturday, June 22nd at 2:30 p.m. The town has partnered with the Daughters of the American Revolution on the project, and the Historical Society and the library will be open on Saturday for visitors who come to the event. There will be a gathering with snacks after the event at Brown Hall for those who wish to attend. At the time of our application, Bucksport was the only town in the United States that partnered with a DAR chapter to participate in the America 250 program. Calais is the other community in Maine that will have an America 250 plaque installed as well later this year. The Village Partnership Initiative program was approved at the polls on June 11th, so the town will move forward with preparing the application for funding for that program. We look forward to making this the best project that it can be for the future of our downtown. Thank you to Rich and Caitlin for doing the heavy lifting with the PPI grant and the VPI proposal. Congratulations to the recent graduates for Bucksport High School and the boys baseball team and girls softball team for winning the Northern Maine Regional Championships again this year. We encourage everyone to attend the state final games at the University of Maine on Saturday to cheer them on. And if anybody watched the games the other night, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. The Tim Emery Municipal Pool is scheduled to open on Monday, June 17th. The lines were pressure tested ahead of time to ensure that no hiccups, and the pool has been painted as of today, and filling will start on Saturday. A reminder that the Bay Festival is right around the corner on Saturday, July 20th. There will be lots of events for the day. Don't forget to sign up for the 5K Family Fun Run and Dog Walk, or to participate in the Hawaiian-themed parade sponsored by Camden National Bank. We are also still looking for volunteers to help man the inflatables in the Kid Zone, which was hugely popular last year. Once again this year, there will be no fee for kids to use the inflatables in the Kid Zone. The marina is up and running again this year and seeing a lot of activity already. And in addition, American Cruise Lines will be docking in Bucksport each Monday through the summer and fall. And finally, thank you to Jackie and George and the elections crew for a smooth election. Congratulations to all the primary winners and good luck in the general election in November. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions for Sue? All righty. We are going back to agenda item 12. For the last two items there, we have a liquor and food license from Ming's Garden.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in, any questions? All those in favor? And we also have a liquor and food license for Glenn's Place.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded. Any questions?
Oh, I was getting ready.
Oh, all those in favor?
I was early. Sorry. Sorry.
Good. We are done with those as well. Discussion of items not on the agenda for the council and public. We will begin with the public this evening. Don, I saw your hand first.
Good evening, Don White, Town Farm Road. I'm referencing the letter of April 16th that was sent to Mayor Bissonnette from Commissioner Melanie Loisum. In that letter, there was a request to do monitoring for 2 additional wells of adjoining properties, or not adjoining, but close by properties. That was supposed to be done by May 30th. Do we have any information relative to that at this point?
Vet testing has been done on those 2 wells.
Do we have any reports?
I do not have reports, but I do know that the testing was done. I spoke with Karen Canuti, who told me that.
So it was accomplished. Has anybody else requested their wells be tested that are close by?
A gentleman on Silver Lake Road asked for testing. That was included in the request, but that wasn't approved. That wasn't in an area where the hydrogeologist indicated would be impacted by.
So that request was denied by the department?
No, the department went with what the hydrogeologist said was the area that would be susceptible, that would need to be tested.
So that gentleman, his request gets denied? Is that the end result?
No, it wasn't included in what was recommended. He was in a different area.
What does that mean for him?
That means that he hasn't put a request in with the hydrogeologist.
The hydrogeologist is what they look to tell them what direction groundwater, water moves, and that is the basis for that decision. If it's a council desire to test water for anyone who applies, then that's a separate question. But the department relies on its hydrogeologist to make that determination.
That gentleman came to this council a while back that I think and spoke of some issues that had crossed his mind that were serious issues with him and his neighbors relative to, not pointing direct fingers, but he had thoughts. So I would encourage the council to reach out to this gentleman and perhaps come up with some way to give his well reasonable testing. Because he's pretty close, if you know where that gentleman lives, and he has suffered intolerably in his personal life and his neighbor's life. Okay. Has AIM Bucksport LLC, have they filed their 2023 report?
I believe they have.
Does the town have access to it?
I will have to check. Karen Canuti and I have been conversing about it.
Okay.
But I will.
And that will be available to the public?
Absolutely.
Good. In the letter to Mayor Bissonnette of April 16th, it was said to keep working on the plan and submit it by November 1, or minus their selling it, which I assume they're still actively involved in. Does the town will the town be an active participant in putting together that closure plan? They have to submit it by November 1 of this year, and final plans to close by December 1, according to the letter to you, Paul. My question is, what input does the town have at this point in that closure plan if it goes forward, if they don't sell it?
The town wouldn't have input in the preparation of it. The town would have input in the review and comment of it once submitted.
Okay. So if it's submitted, they don't sell it or whatever their negotiation, they submit it to the deadline of November 1, then the town will have the ability to review and comment and be a participant. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, council members, my name is Stephen McCurdy. I'm fairly new to your community. I moved to Maine about 2 years ago, and then bought a place here in Bucksport about a year ago. And it's come to my attention, part of my plans and intentions with the place that I have purchased is to Airbnb it in the short term and in the long term. I had a dream and some bigger plans, which I haven't really made public. But I bought the house on Central Street and Franklin, the old Ahern house, I guess, was the place, against the advice of your code enforcement officer, and also against the advice of, well, maybe perhaps my own better judgment. I'm about a year into the project now, and one, because I hate to see any old building torn down, and two, because I had been looking for a place that I could turn into sort of a gathering spot and a community spot, a place to bring in artists, architects, filmmakers, writers, and I have been well, for my job, for my career, was as a filmmaker. And I taught film production, and I've been a tour guide around the world into Italy. And I saw that that building could be repurposed and used as both a place to gather people, but a place to stay. Part of that was trying to figure out a way that I could proceed on a slow basis, and then at the same time, you know, be able to recoup some of my losses or my investment as I'm going along, which is why I was hoping to be able to Airbnb portions of that as I completed them up until I could get the whole facility up and running. It's come to my attention that you're looking at the possibility of changing the Airbnb rules, which would require or would only allow one unit. It was originally designed, or had been previously, for apartments, one unit that could be Airbnb'd, which may or may not affect me in the long run. But as I see it currently, that is an issue, that is a problem. I've done a lot of work so far as stabilizing the building, with the hopes that it not deteriorate any further, put it on a new roof, reinforce the basement in the barn building, done actually more work than I anticipated, and probably more than I would have done if I was just going to turn it into apartment spaces. So my investment in that sense is I probably would have done a lot less and just rented out the building. So the second part, of my goal first was to create the place. The second one was not to lose my shirt in the process. And in planning to avoid that potentiality, I wanted to build it in stages, and like I said, be able to recoup that by having, or being able to Airbnb it. I didn't know originally if I intended to live there. I have a place up in Whiting. I've since moved down here at least for 5 days of the week, since my wife took a job in Belfast. And I love the old house, and it could be that would be the location that I would like to make permanently into my home. But the idea again was to create 4 spaces that, if worse came to worse, I could Airbnb. If my plans go through, there is a studio, there is meeting spaces, there is a kitchen that would be a great gathering spot for people, and then to bring in people from around the country that would either have residency programs or would be there for different workshops that were held, that could be held there, and and there's a big section that would be set up as kind of an artist studio and a gallery. I guess I'm just hoping you'll consider limiting the number of units that can be rented short term, so that I can proceed with my plans as projected, And that's why I'm here tonight. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. I just have a question.
Yes.
I'm just curious, why would there be a different standard for temporary in your renovation plan versus if it were renting for apartments? Is there a difference?
Well,
that you were-
and part of it, I'm here ahead of time because I don't know what sort of proposal is on the table exactly and what you're considering. But what I understand is that at one point, there is, or the proposal would be that out of 4 units, 3 could be rental units, which would have to be long-term, and only 1 could be Airbnb. Now, because I'm finishing this in stages, I'm close to finishing the first unit completely. The second one will be finished not close behind. We are currently living in one. I would like to start Airbnb that second unit immediately, because I feel that I can recoup my investment faster with that community than I can with a rental. Also at the risk of, unfortunately, in many instances, rentals are harder than on a place, being there, every day, all of the time, than the Airbnb. So I don't want to also have to redo stuff in the long run that I've already done and completed. I want to set it up so that in the future that, if the whole project doesn't work, or if it's less successful than I dream it to be, that I could either, or someone could, if I were to sell the whole place, and there would be 4 separate units already set up and identified as rentable apartment units. So it would kind of be set up that way, but in the long run, for me, it would be advantageous to run it like an inn, which I, haven't crossed that. I don't know what the technicalities with the city. I know we're in a commercial area, but I don't know what is involved in doing that or running it like an inn. And so that would be a bridge to be crossed at some point. So being able to just finish a unit and Airbnb whatever's available up until I start to bring in groups, there'll be approximately space for about 20 to 30 people that could be hosted there at one time. And I think that it would be personally a great addition to the city to to have something like that. If that building, and I don't know what the situation is with others in the community, or if this affects others in the community, but if it could be grandfathered in, or if it could allow me to proceed, or if I could have some assurance that I could proceed, knowing that I could do this along the way, that would be helpful. Yes.
Answer in summary.
Yeah, I can speak to it.
We just talked about this Monday in economic development,
Okay.
and go
Yeah,
ahead.
the will of the committee was to, the recommendation of the committee was to not impose further restrictions. What we had done with the original proposal was we took the safety side of it and passed that, and we left out the ratio side of it.
Okay.
So that's the way it stands now. It's supposed to be discussed, I believe, next month, right, Paul?
Yes.
And fees was approved.
And fees was approved, yep.
Which just required somebody to come in once a
An
year
annual
and
inspection,
annual
300 per
inspect.
unit.
The biggest concern, the concern you addressed was that things were renting that were not safe.
Yeah.
And the town had no knowledge of those, which makes it more difficult for public safety and others who have to respond, who don't know what is what when they get there. And then the council's decision 4 was to come back to discuss, I believe you, Mark, had asked for additional information on how many units there were in town, how many apartments were being replaced, long-term apartments were being replaced with short-term rentals and those kind of things, to be able to better gauge
Right.
what the impact is, but it was the council's discussion at that time that they wanted that information sooner rather than later, rather than wait until it was already a problem before it was addressed. Is that not still the council's desire, or?
The, committee Monday, we discussed that, and during our committee meeting, we realized that there's probably a lot of Airbnbs and the like that we don't know about, and that it's gonna take a while for everyone to get things registered with code enforcement, to find out what is where, and to get enough time to actually get some data of what is happening in town. So although we do want it now, we didn't know if we'd actually be able to have it now. So,
What is the impact on the number that we have?
Well,
Is
the
it a
question is,
derogatory?
the question from people who are concerned about it is it displaces neighborhoods, and that it takes full-time rental units and makes them into, so that your housing problem becomes worse, not better, if there's no, if a community allows itself to just turn everything into short-term rental. That's the concern.
Hancock County has the fastest growing turn to Airbnb than any other county in the state. So down east is a particular area that Airbnb is growing at a pace that is making it difficult for towns to have housing for year-round
And I
residents.
yeah,
So I'm
I
sure there's a
understand that.
sweet spot, and I'm glad we're gonna talk about it.
And I think that I'm assuming that the committee didn't want to just stop looking at it.
No,
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 that
to
will-
get the application process going, to get the numbers in and try to analyze the impact on the community. But that's not gonna be possible. I mean, I just got the application yesterday. So I mean, the committee was hopeful that we could take some time and evaluate it.
that was the harsh reality that we came to. We realized that during the discussion that we had, we realized that, it's a larger problem than just the town of Bucksport. And everything that's going on in the outside world, so to speak, is quickly moving in on us, and what it's gonna do to us, we don't know yet.
So would September?
Well, I was
Be
gonna
a
say,
fair-
I'm not sure that waiting a year is a good idea, because by that time, if there was going to be, everybody who knows that you're waiting to do anything about locations or numbers or whatever, will have already done that.
I think September's a fair goal.
I think so too.
Council meeting. Yep. Yeah.
Just to determine what
What we're
the
facing.
numbers are, you know.
Sure.
I think that would at least give you something to talk about that has a better basis in reality, which is somewhere from Jesus not anyway to there's way more than you think there are, you know, already that just aren't permitted.
So can we set that goal?
I mean, I had a
First
call
meeting in
from a
September?
person this week that said, oh my God, I just learned that you're not gonna do short-term rentals. I've been renting out blah, 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 and nobody had one clue that they were renting out 3 places that
You know,
were.
a conversation we had too is, once there is a permitting, once there is an inspection, these people that are renting out X, Y, and Z aren't gonna do it anymore. So the perceived problem that people see that we have, that people think we have in Bucksport, and I understand Hancock County is the biggest growing, okay? And I know that people, and this is a conversation that we had in the committee meeting, okay? We are not Bar Harbor, we are not, to be honest, we're not Ellsworth. And we're actually probably closer to Penobscot County than we are them. And I guess my opinion, and just my sole opinion, we want to bring people here, okay? If we wanna bring people here, how many people could we invite here now? Okay, we have a hotel sitting next door, and we have one down the street. That is it. Okay, so to really put a number on, if we don't have the problem, right? If they are licensed, because I really think that licensing and inspections are gonna put a damper on people that are renting out a shack out back. If we don't have that problem, right? We want to bring people here, then it's a slippery slope. Do we want them here, do we not? That is just, like I said, my sole opinion, because we don't have a lot of places for people to stay. And I understand the long-term rental problem that we have, okay? But we've had that. I have lived here for probably 45 years out of my 52 years, and we've had that probably all of our lives. And I wish we could fix that, but with the economy right now and with all of that, it's harder to fix.
That was another major element of the discussion too. Don't get me wrong, I'm the last person that wants neighborhoods locally being designed by
100%.
Airbnbs, but a good point that was brought up is that based on interest rates and income of individuals, some of these buildings that require work that could be brought up and improved as a building, the method of getting them purchased and fixed is Airbnb to generate the income to make that happen.
Right.
Because the family's having enough money to be able to do it and fix up a house is not an option right now. And that's a terrible
Well,
reality
What's
that was
interesting-
discussed.
Yeah, I put in, I purchased that home for what to me seemed like a very inexpensive price of $85,000. I've put in $300 and something thousand, and I'm not even halfway done, and I can never recoup that unless I
I mean, I think, I
could-
feel like we.
I understand, but I understand the long term, I'm sorry. I do.
Yeah,
And-
no, I feel like we've kind of got, I mean, I just had a 20-year career in housing work, and what we haven't had in Bucksport in the last 40 years is a workforce housing shortage, a home ownership housing shortage. And so what we're finding is that younger families who want to work here, if we're looking for police officers, grocery store clerks, they can't buy homes now, so they're forced into rentals. So more and more people are renting, and so our workforce, that is new to Bucksport. That is new. I'm not sure if anyone can share that, but that's not a 40-year-old problem in Bucksport. That's new.
Right.
I'm used to people who can't find housing with lower incomes. I'm not used to finding people online on Facebook desperately searching for housing to work here. And I think we're just trying to find, I would just like us to find like a happy medium where we can do both and.
Right.
Because our small businesses suffer if the workforce has nowhere to live, right? Our economy suffers if we don't have year-round residents.
So part of my reason for coming to this area was, well, one, your film, your nice theater and your film storage place there, just because of my background in film. That was my first introduction to the city about a year and a half ago. I came through the area, and at the time, I actually I was with my wife and daughter and son-in-law, and was trying to find an Airbnb to stay. Now, granted, it was the winter. It was, if I remember right, it was early December. I stayed in, and this goes to your point as far as having it, inspections and that sort of thing. I could only find one Airbnb to even stay at. It was closer to Ellsworth, and it was somebody's home that they literally, nothing had been moved or changed from when they were staying there the night before, and obviously lived there. It was just their house. I opened up the fridge, all of their food, all of their stuff, everything was everywhere. I almost found it unbearable to spend the night, but it seemed like it was my only, possibility and occasion. So there is that side, and I do understand the need for local housing and local people to find places to stay. So I appreciate you listening to my side, and wish you luck in finding a good medium spot there.
Hopefully you can help us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCurdy. I think this council is doing and will continue to do a pretty good job at trying to consider the needs of everyone. And let's be realistic. We know the building that you're speaking of, which sat pretty in a state of disrepair for some time. And so it's hard to make an argument that says that how your plans for that building, if they come to fruition, are not a net benefit to the community as a whole. Now, you may be a rare example, or I won't say unique, but let's say rare, or there are other examples of people who aren't, as you just described, putting nearly the planning into how they do their short-term rentals as you might be. So I think that's the part where I think the council is doing a good job. First of all, focusing on the safety, and I think that's really where our code enforcement officer really started to realize there was a problem. But then taking it from there and saying, how can we do this and not undercut anybody who already has plans or who is doing this and is doing it safely and correctly, and also at the same time not turn into one of those communities where 50% of our housing, and I'm being dramatic on purpose, becomes that type of. Because Councillor Hare's point is certainly valid too, just as Councillor Dobbins is in that, I'll steal Councillor Hare's phrase, there has to be a happy medium here, and I think we're on the path to finding that.
And thank you for, and I apologize for the fact that it's still an eyesore after.
No. Progress is progress. Progress takes, progress
good
takes
progress.
time. Yeah.
What do you got, Luke? You know the most about it?
I just wanted to give you a quick update on where we're at. So far, last Friday, I sent out 33 packets that included a letter explaining everything, a copy of the ordinance, a copy of the application, a copy of the safety checklist. I sent 33 of those out, accounting for 44 units. There's more that I'm finding currently or that are self-reporting, so word's getting around. I haven't had a single complaint yet. Everybody thinks it's reasonable. Many of them have units in other states and think that we aren't charging enough, which is, I disagree. I'm not planning on asking it to go up, but that was interesting to hear. Some of the other models, one of them was for every occupant that you're allowed, they do $100 per year per occupant. So if you have a place that holds 8 people, it's $800. But there's different models for different towns. But the point is, every person I've dealt with and the inspections I've done so far, they're happy to do it and think it's a good idea. So, and I have found already, even in some really nice places, missing smoke detectors, no fire extinguishers, little things, but important things. So it's working, I think. But there's a lot more to do, and of course the downside of all of this is it put another big task on my list because I've got applications coming in faster than I can review them. So, but
Luke, how many do you think we're gonna find? Ballpark.
75 to 80
Units or
units.
do you know what that would be occupancy wise? Probably doesn't matter.
Oh, occupancy wise?
That's irrelevant, actually.
Yeah, most of them are.
We can jam a lot of people in one occupancy.
Well, I'm just trying to get a
unit.
sense if they're like 2-bedroom units, like for households with kids, or what types of units are the trend.
I've only actually written up a couple of permits so far. I've got a stack of applications I'm going through. One was for a 4-occupant, one was for a 6-occupant. So it's based on the septic system. If it's city sewer, then it's based solely on bedrooms.
How many actual houses are you finding? Are a lot of those houses or just apartments?
Probably 3/4 are houses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is different than apartments.
Yep.
Okay.
One thing is this,
That's a lot different than apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
as this evolves and my thought
Right.
process does, I think there's a difference between buying a house in a neighborhood to Airbnb it and fixing up a building that may get torn down for an Airbnb, is what I'm starting to think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
The outside investment is what a lot of has happened in a lot of areas, which is outside investment for the specific purpose of turning a house. It's why South Portland and some of those areas have had to do that, because they've huge swaths of homes and neighborhoods were just all being purchased by out-of-state investments for the purpose of Airbnb. And that
And a
is
fair amount of
dramatic.
those packets I sent out were to out-of-state addresses. I don't know the
On
percentage.
houses?
Yeah. So they're buying them and they're, you know, they might stay in it some, and then they Airbnb it when they're not here, or, you know, it's different for each person's, so, yeah, and I can tell you that in Orland, with all the lakes and ponds, I mean, there's 7 different lakes and ponds over there. It's probably 3 times as many as there are here in Bucksport.
Sure.
And there's no regulation over there right now. And anything that is passed would have to go through town meeting. It's a much different process, and haven't even brought that up over there.
I
But,
wouldn't.
no, I haven't got time to deal with it right now, but it really should happen because of the safety things, you know, especially the ones on the water.
I understand 100% on the safety things.
Yeah.
How do you regulate? I guess this is more of a question.
I didn't say anything about regulating numbers. I just
No,
wanna
no,
make sure they're
like
safe.
My,
Yeah.
no, like my house.
Yep.
I'm a snowbird.
Yep.
How would you regulate me Airbnb in my house if I left for the winter?
If you're doing it for less than 30 days at a time, then you need to get a short-term rental permit.
100% on the permit. Nope. Other than that, though, right? I mean,
You're free.
Yeah,
to
no,
pass
Okay.
inspection.
You're fine. And I did watch, I wasn't here because of
I
the
had the
softball
question
and
on the
everything.
house part. That's because
But-
I think the houses are different than obviously.
No, and
Sounds right
there's
now
a
we
few
got
of
more
those.
houses
Yep.
than we do apartment buildings or
Yeah.
apartments.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It seems like it's really hard for us to know the actual impact. I mean, how would
Yeah.
we get at that without?
Wasn't there a study? Didn't the state do a study? Didn't I see it in the
The
Bangor paper?
state said 14% of the housing's going to Airbnb.
It's
But yet
just,
so nuanced
Yeah.
because
'Cause it
could
doesn't-
be,
regions
like-
can be
like-
head dense and-
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's not really,
Yeah.
it could be you who lives in your house
Sure.
and goes away for the summer.
for
Camps.
And-
yeah, and some of them are camps, you know.
for us, the majority of ours so far are houses.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's really not in I guess in my view, it's not taking a
Yeah.
it
No,
would be
that's
taking
not.
away that long-term rental.
It's units
Right.
like, and you've all made some great points about the old buildings and fixing them up, and I get it. I get both sides of it, and at this point, I really don't care what you do. It's your decision. But what I will say is, like, when Caitlin and I would go and do occupancy inspections, like the fella that bought the old Redemption Center down there, it's now Fort Knox Law, and there's 2 apartments above it. And Caitlin and I went through them, and he did a great job. They look wonderful. And the big decks on the back facing the river and all of that. And we said, oh man, you're going to rent these in a matter of 5 minutes. And he goes, oh, no, we're going to put them on short-term Airbnb. So it's like, those were, albeit they weren't fancy, those were 2-family units. And those families are now gone, and those aren't being rented to families.
But they weren't very.
They weren't
they
very
weren't
good. No, I know, but those
But they were
people,
homes.
Still two
But,
family,
but I mean,
Yeah.
what was lost in the last conversation we
Yeah.
had is the 138 units we're adding up, up at Oakley.
absolutely, that's going to help.
that,
I mean, that-
I
that's
hope
what
it
we
is
need.
anyway.
that is something that was brought up in the meeting was what we're gaining.
Yeah.
Well, it's 200 total, but
200
138 units of,
I would encourage everyone to watch the meeting from economic
Yep.
development on Monday, because the other element that's very important to us here is that there are plenty of people that are from here that have inherited family homes and family camps that rent them out as means to continue to keep them and use that income to pay for them to keep
Right.
those properties in the family.
Absolutely.
And that's another important element of it, but I think everybody
So-
should watch that meeting.
Yeah, I couldn't be here because of softball, but I have watched it.
Yeah.
I thought there was some good discussion. The lady that came up and spoke to you, I think it was Hooper. Does that sound right?
oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think she was under the impression that we were going to cap the number versus limit the number of units
Yeah.
per building.
Right.
So if there's people listening right now, it wasn't. We never proposed and don't propose to, put a cap of, like, say, 80 units and no more. If you come in and you're 81,
Like
you
Bar Harbor has.
yeah.
Yes.
The idea that I had brought forward, and it may not be a good one, but I brought it forward, was if you had a 3-unit building, at least one of those needs to be a long-term rental to try and have some units down here where working class people can rent.
Are you seeing,
but-
Luke, people being displaced for renovation and Airbnb, like people already in the units being evicted and then flipping it to Airbnb?
Yes, but in some cases, it needed to happen. It's just, I mean, well, Steve McCurdy's building is one of them.
I remember.
There were three families in there. They needed to leave. It wasn't
Yeah.
safe. So, I mean, he didn't kick them out. I did.
Right.
I helped them find other places, and I did it slowly. I worked with them, but I told them, hey, this isn't safe. You gotta find another place, and we helped them find a place. So does that sound better than kicked them out? But I did help them find a place, and then it went up for sale, and Steve bought it, and he's fixing it up, and we're trying to make it into 4 units, and yeah. In my mind, it would be great if 1 or 2 of those was long-term and the others were short-term, but that's totally your decision. And I had no idea you spent so much money. So, I mean, 300,000 already is huge, so it's insane how much stuff costs.
Especially those old houses,
Yeah.
too, can redo all these.
Maybe you should have just torn it down and rebuilt.
Don't tell them that now.
So,
It still might be cheaper.
anyway, if you don't have any questions, I just wanted to give you an
Thank you.
update.
Just one other comment that I had here, because I looked up actually the impact of, you know, well, what does tourism also bring to the community? And of course, these are just general numbers that the state provides. You know, it says that the average Mainer pays $2,172 less in taxes because of tourism. So, you know, that's a big impact on just having people come and spend money in your community. You know, there's currently about 107,000 jobs in Maine because of tourism. 5.1 billion in wages are created because of tourism. The state collects 1 billion in taxes because of tourism. And of course, a lot of the Airbnbers or even people that come and stay, they tend to be the opposite of snowbirds. I grew up out west, so I'm used to the snowbirds. I'm going to the Arizona for the winter, and everybody from Florida comes here for the summer, and at least lives during that period of the time here. So there's those sorts of issues and questions and information that all needs to be brought into the equation.
Mr. Chapman?
Thank you, Ralph Chapman. Just very briefly, in addition to the housing difficulties, say workforce housing, the character of the community has also changed. Our tourism, which is an important part of the economy of the town, does not provide for, or the short-term rentals do not provide for people to fill spots on the town committees, for example. The town that I moved from 5 years ago had ballots for town positions and only write-ins. No one ran for them. And when it starts to be difficult to find people to operate the community, and the tourists don't operate the community, and the short-term rental folks don't operate the community. So that's another aspect of what happens when a community starts to implode. It's happening. I think Bucksport is in a much better position with respect to that than some of the other more rural coastal towns nearby, but that is something to keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Mr. Rotella?
Well, since we're on the Economic Development Committee topics, there were 2 other items that were discussed. One was for advertising for electric vehicles, and the committee decided not to pursue that at this time. And the last was something that was presented to this council at its meeting in May regarding the wind, Mac Point, Sears Island, and the committee decided not to take any action on that as well.
Yes. Thank you for that update. Good conversation on this. I think a good policy is gonna come out of conversations like this. I think Bucksport, not to be too schmaltzy about it, but the town that I've lived in for the vast majority of my life has been a town that has been able to have multiple, or what some might think of as competing ways of life or lines of business, or however you want to think of it, coexist with one another cooperatively, collaboratively, and effectively. And I think we have an opportunity here to do this. I don't think that I appreciate what Mr. Chapman just said, but I think if we manage this effectively, we can stay very, very far away from that type of scenario. And if people like this group and others are doing their job, then people who come for these short-term rentals will come for longer-term rentals because they like Bucksport so much, and even a smaller percentage of them may even decide to move here. And I think that, as we look at this from a high-level, moving forward perspective, has to be something that we consider as well. So again, I won't belabor the conversation except to say I appreciate it, because that's, I think, a strong policy where everybody's perspectives are heard and we can outline our priorities that are gonna come from those, so thank you.
I do think we should keep a goal in mind though, and not kick the can.
For September, for what you mentioned earlier, in
I
terms
would
of
like
getting.
September, that'll give us the summer, that's 2.5 months.
Sure.
We'll have an idea of how many applications Luke has received, how many homes that,
Yep.
you know, if that's people that live here that are doing this, or if it's,
It'll give us a season.
yeah.
Yeah.
Councilor Rankin, we actually mentioned that about the kick in the can, and really it was more of a spin, wasn't a kick. Because we actually enacted the policy of the ordinance. Of course, it's on it.
Kicking the can is my adversary, I'm gonna keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
And I think that was the most important part.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's actually what we said too.
Yep.
We called it the
The
safety.
safety part?
The safety aspect was the most important part, by far. By far.
Any other items on the, Rich, I saw you brewing back there, I said, I better chat.
I kind of, well, yeah, go back to Sue's comment. So the 22nd is going to be an extremely busy day in Bucksport, right? So the Tour de Lock race is going to happen. The Grand Fondo Hinkabee is going to happen. Bob Carmichael's Celebration of Life is going to happen. The Daughters of the American Revolution is going to happen. And there's also a ribbon cutting open house at Bucksport's new business, Bucksport Trading Post, that's going to happen. That one will happen at 1 o'clock. On the 22nd. And Central Street, they're on pace to have the final pavement done tomorrow. It's going to depend on this storm or whatnot, but if you haven't noticed yet, by McLeod's, that sidewalk has been improved and has been pushed out.
I saw that.
It was actually the crew. It was no additional cost to the town because they had to move the granite. The granite used to lie like this.
Yeah.
They pushed it out a little bit further, and
It
now
was
there's enough room.
impressive.
It
I
is.
didn't think you could fix that sidewalk.
That was all Thibodeau. They did a great job, and the project's gone smoothly. We're about a month ahead of schedule, and that's that update.
Thank you. Rich, I'm glad you said that, because
You should
the
sit there, 'cause
22nd.
you're gonna have something else.
I've communicated with a couple of those groups, Council, Rob Carmichael, anyway, I'm gonna be out of town on the 22nd, so if there's anybody else on the council that can make any of that, I apologize for being out of town, but we're going on vacation, so anyway, yep. Of course, it's the busiest day where I would like to attend at some of those things, but anyway, yep. Any other, things for conversation not on the agenda? All right, thank you. Let's see, next is upcoming public
Paul's got
Did I
something.
skip you? I apologize.
No, I had one question.
Yep.
The playground. Where do we stand on that?
It's in committee.
Sorry, Paul.
The grant
No,
is in.
No, I'm
I
glad
know
you,
that.
no.
The grant is in process. The grant is due by the last Friday of this month, and this council helped our score with the purchase of the 10-acre parcel, which helps with the 5-acre debacle that we had when we gave away property that was in recreation. So that will help. It will be finalized, that as well as the tennis courts. And being at the softball field, as much as I have been the last 2 months, those tennis courts are being used a lot.
Absolutely are.
My word, often, and there's so many people using them right now. And even in the conditions they're in.
We haven't lost anybody in the cracks or anything.
I plead the fifth. No, we have not, and we've had it weed whacked. So yes.
I worry about it more going down over the hill.
Somebody wrote an email about playground for 1 to 5-year-olds. I just wanted to remind people in the public. Rich reminded me about the Jewett School
That's
being
right.
open to the public
I
for
saw
the
that
summer.
actually on Facebook.
Yeah,
today.
she reached out.
Yeah.
She didn't know about it, so thank you. And anyone in the public who's listening, the Jewett School 1 to 5-year-old playground.
Yeah, playgrounds have 2 to 5.
Oh, 2 to 5.
No, you're good. 5 to 12. So Ian's is a 5 to 12 age playground, and then of course they make for older kids, and then there's now the senior one that like Sue and I had a conversation about before as well. So that's what we're here for. Yeah.
Rich,
Thanks for
hold
answering
on.
that. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
yes, sir.
Just want to encourage everybody, I won't be able to make it, but Saturday, boys baseball, girls softball, state championships, where and when?
University of Maine at Orono. The boys play at 1 p.m. and the girls play at 3:30.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Third year in a row?
Third year in a row for the boys, second for the girls. We have a rematch with Halldale, and the boys will play Sacopee Valley.
Perfect. Outstanding.
Anyone else? Good, all right. We next are upcoming public hearings, designation of topics for committee assignment, and scheduling of committee meetings. But prior to our meeting next time, what committee meetings are already booked and what do we need to book?
I don't think we're booked.
Do we need to book anything?
What about the ball field?
Rich, when will Anthony,
Go for it.
when will Anthony get us some information on, he was gonna get us some information on the temporary repair of what the baseball field needs now.
Anthony's working on that. I'm working with our engineer on the request that you folks had asked about the safety, a part of that. Her and I are also working on 4 other grants right now as well, so I will get on that on Monday with her and push that one to the front. There was discussion about if we did the rock, the engineers,
Oh, yeah, just filling in with rock.
correct,
Get
filling
rid
with
of the
rock,
wall.
yes, yes. We're dealing with minor issues with the wall, with the cemetery right now, and because the current railing system is fine, but once you make adjustments, it now has to be protected. You can't have anything wider than, Luke, is it 4-inch slats? Which is going to possibly make this darn near impossible without having to send it.
We have windmill turbines going through this community starting the 20th of June through October,
I
5
saw
days a
that.
week, early in the morning. And they've had to remove, it's supposed to be early, but there's no way that given summer traffic, that this is not going to, it's coming over the bridge and across Verona. They're gonna
gonna be-
turn right at the light every morning, 5 days a week, from June 20th to October.
That's if they can do that right turn on the bridge.
Oh, wait.
We did
Oh,
that years ago. We
you-
had to move the signs.
You wait.
We had to
Wait
take
to
the
see
signs
these
up
tractor
immediately.
trailer
Yes.
drivers. They are slick.
Mr. Public Safety Director Gagan,
I've been working with the state on this for about a month. I don't think it's starting until July 8th.
they just, I'm only saying that it was,
Yeah,
it's
and I
been all
called them
over.
immediately and said, you said July 8th, and he said, they're starting July 20th for another,
June 20th.
or June 20th, another project, but it won't be till July 8th here, I don't believe.
Because the Hancock County Emergency Management posted that
We
it
I
was,
discussed that with him yesterday too, and he probably shouldn't have.
because
put
it
that
said
out
the
there.
20th, it described this
Right,
route. That
yeah.
was the only reason that I.
They have to remove all the light poles, not the traffic light, but the light poles in Irving have to come down. They're putting up new lights and new monitors and temporary lights and transformers and, but they sent me a digital format and they should be able to bring those 300-foot windmills at 400,000 pounds around that corner. There's gonna be 90 of them.
Always be
They're gonna
reminded
start
that.
with 1 at a time, work to 2 at a time, and
I got stuck
Hey.
behind that tractor trailer where the house fell off, remember, right at the beginning of the
Yeah.
bridge? I was in traffic for 3 hours, it fell right off the axle.
I'm thinking July 8th, because I got onto him when you sent that to me, and I said, well, what are we doing? And he said, well, I don't think it's till July 8th.
Well, that's not the only place I've seen the 20th.
Right, but there's another total separate
No, this
project.
describes this route.
Yeah, that's not. If it is, they're on their own.
They're on their-
What they should do is,
I like that.
what they should do is do it on the 22nd when nothing's going on in the town. I'd recommend you do it that morning. That would be great.
What time in the morning are they gonna do?
Yeah, I know.
5 or 5:30 in the morning, they should be coming through here and out of here. It's really, really early.
That's when they leave Searsport. It's not gonna be 5:30.
No, they'll be here by 5:30. I'm having long discussions with these people that if it's after 6 or 6:30, they're in trouble. And they're gonna need traffic control and.
That's where the turbines are.
But they have troopers, supposedly, if they can find any troopers, because they don't have any troopers, and what did they say, David? They have 70 to 90 a month in transports coming up, starting for 4 months, and he doesn't have anyone to work the patrol shifts he's got to answer calls at this point, so.
So what you're saying is they have them available for the transports,
No,
they don't have them available?
no,
So,
because they're not gonna take them off the road to do the transports, and they need two troopers per thing, and it's 70 a month and 50 a month, and
Where are they headed?
Columbia.
Columbia
Columbia Falls.
Falls, yeah.
I heard it
I
was.
did see the 20th.
I wish they'd taken them to Eastport.
I
So-
tell you, I've watched these guys. They've come right down State Street onto North Main.
Right.
They're pretty slick. I mean, that's a 90-degree corner there, and they're pretty slick.
When they get to Ledbetter's, the end of the windmill will still be over near the bridge coming through the Irving parking lot, part of it, but the wheels will go around the corner, but the windmill in the middle will go over the,
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
what could go wrong?
It's
Nothing.
It's
At 400,000 pounds.
Oh my god.
they're pretty.
They're pretty good at what they do,
They're
but,
good
Well,
at what
that's-
they do.
I'd like to see them
and I'm
get over
gonna
that river
double
bridge.
check, but when I called him, he said it's not, the 20, so it's okay.
Can you imagine they're nice?
John Craig has been getting a hold of me, and they need to get their permits. They need to tear down light poles and all that, so it is coming, but, and it ought to be interesting.
a lot of money in wind power, trying to build the toll booth at the end of the bridge.
Build a new bridge.
That's a good thought. Do that. We get that built by
All right,
the
so-
20th?
No committee
So
meetings.
for real, what are we gonna do though if they come on your date?
No committee.
No committee meetings before the next meeting. Yep.
It's a Monday through Friday thing.
Anything else?
They ought to be doing that thing at midnight.
Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed. Thank you, everyone.